Jamahal Hill was, until recently, one of the key figures in the light heavyweight division, a young fighter at his peak, also a former champion who never lost his belt in a fair fight. In short, he was cool in every sense of the word.
Yeah, man, I feel good here. It's business as usual. You know, Sweet Dream Stadium, like you said, it's comfortable here. You see the performances speak for themselves, and yeah, just comfortable, bro.
Crazy punch. Oh my gosh! Oh! You got one in there! Do it! Jamahal!
And now, Jamahal Hill!
However, recently he was suddenly dropped to a lower rank right after fights with two elite representatives of the division, Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska.
Oh well, it's the game we play. Got caught. For anybody that care, I'm good. I'm well. We still doing our thing. And yeah, man, we just build and come right back.
Today, we delve into what led Jamahal Hill to such a sharp decline and whether this decline is even justified. Maybe the issue lies somewhere else entirely, but we won't lay all our cards on the table just yet. Sit back, relax, and let's get started. Enjoy watching.
More work, more dedication, more hours in the gym, more drive, more blood, more sweat, more tears. That's what it takes.
And where do you go from here, Jamahal?
Straight up. It's only go up from here. I win fights not because I'm just a striker. I'm everything. Ground, stand up, I work it all. If you think you're gonna come in here and take something from me, boy, you better be ready.
Alright, let's start from the very beginning. It may seem unusual, but it's worth taking a step back to look at the journey of a professional athlete who, after all, made sacrifices to achieve greatness. Don't worry, there will be plenty of time to dive deeper into criticism later in this episode. Jamahal Hill entered this brutal and often unfair sport in September 2017, marking the beginning of his professional career. The up-and-coming prospect chose Knockout Promotions as the starting point of his journey. From the outset, his potential was evident, a spirited, driven, tall southpaw in the light heavyweight division. Hill displayed strong promise for the future right from the start. He earned his debut victory via unanimous decision against Alex Davidson. Hill's final fight in Knockout Promotions came in June of the same year, where he claimed the KOP Light Heavyweight Championship after a grueling 5-round battle. Before making his UFC debut, Hill had to fight once more in a local promotion. This time it was Lights Out Promotions, where he faced William Vincent. Hill dismantled his opponent with a technical knockout in the opening round, further cementing his growing reputation. By July 2019, representatives of the premier promotion reached out to Sweet Dreams and invited him to join the 21st season of Dana White's Contender Series. As history shows, the prospect didn't pass up on this enticing opportunity and delivered his best performance on the show. He stopped his opponent Alexander Popek in the early moments of the third round, paving his way to fully joining the UFC roster.
You know, he put it all together in that second round and completely changed my mind. And I said, okay, I'm bringing this kid in. Come on, Jamahal.
Starting in January 2020, Jamahal Hill officially began competing under the banner of the world's strongest MMA league. He did so quite successfully until his first loss to Paul Craig, a defeat that Hill accepted with grace.
Yeah, it's not as bad. There's no break. My elbow just dislocated pretty badly, but they were able to pop it back in. The doctor said it's rock solid, and it's doing all the movement that it needs to. It's just gonna be sore for a while. And
following this setback, Hill took some time off to heal a hand injury and fully prepare for his return. This unfortunate and somewhat bizarre loss didn't diminish his standing in the eyes of the public. He was still seen as a young, ambitious fighter representing a new generation capable of excelling in all aspects of the sport. What's more, Hill reinvented himself as a knockout artist upon his return. First, he dismantled Jimmy Crute in under a minute from the opening bell. Next, he delivered a devastating knockout against Johnny Walker within the first round. Then, in August 2022, in the main event of UFC on ESPN, Hill finished former title challenger Thiago Santos in emphatic fashion.
Because this who y'all face. Y'all need to see the face of terror. I'm not the only one. This is the face of terror is my entire team. People always talk, oh, I wonder where he trains. I wonder where he's at. Should he move here? You see them, you should fear seeing me, knowing I'm not too far behind. You feel me?
Let's pause here for a moment.
Pause.
As you may recall, or if not, we'll remind you, at that time, the Light Heavyweight Championship belonged to Jiri Prochazka. The Czech Samurai had just claimed the belt from the seasoned veteran Glover Teixeira in June. However, Prochazka never got the chance to defend his title even once. This was due to an injury that forced him to vacate the belt, creating an intriguing situation in the division that the UFC had to resolve almost at the last minute. The promotion initially scheduled a rematch between the Brazilian and Prochazka for December, but it never materialized due to the injury. Left without an opponent, Teixeira was suddenly in need of a dance partner. While Jamahal Hill had been slated to fight Anthony Smith in March 2023, in a shuffle of upcoming matchups, UFC matchmakers gave Sweet Dreams the chance to face Glover Teixeira for the vacant title. Hill didn't disappoint himself or his team, going the full distance with the veteran and earning a unanimous decision victory. On January 21, Jamahal Hill became the new UFC Light Heavyweight Champion.
Your performance was phenomenal, man. I mean, it was amazing to see you pick apart Glover like that and to do so well on the ground too. I mean, that was a big victory.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought that I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Well, that was just a general assumption, was that I couldn't grapple on the ground and things like that. When that's definitely
by a twist of fate, or perhaps not, who knows, our hero was also unable to defend his championship gold. Much like the Czech Samurai, he suffered an injury that forced him to relinquish the title, leaving it vacant. Before stepping aside, however, Jamahal recorded a rather intriguing response video to comments made by Prochazka following Hill's victory.
Congratulations. I'm coming. I'm coming!
Well, where you at, though? Where you at, though? And by the way, that's what she said. That's what she said!
And now we arrive at the most fascinating part of the discussion. We've touched on this topic briefly in a previous video about the most frustrating fighters, a list that included Hill himself. As it turned out, Jamahal Hill is quite the representative of the salty category, a personality that manages to get under many people's skin with undeniably peculiar behavior. For instance, consider his relentless pursuit of a fight with Alex Pereira. During Hill's absence, Pereira moved up to the light heavyweight division and even became the undisputed champion after defeating Jiri Prochazka.
I thought it ended a little early, but all in all, I was just thinking like neither one of these dudes are on my level. Like neither one of them, I don't think they are in any facet of the game, and I can't wait to get back in full health and be able to show that.
All right. Be prepared to do that.
Hill, without hesitation, declared that neither Pereira nor Prochazka was anywhere near his level.
This is #1 bullshit.
While recovering from his injury, Hill flooded his YouTube channel and other platforms with content claiming he would knock out the Brazilian, who still holds the division's belt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. I see myself as superior everywhere. I see myself as a superior striker, as a superior grappler, as a superior clinch worker, as a superior thinker, as everywhere. I'm superior to him in everywhere in this game, and I'm gonna show the levels to that. I'm making a very assertive point. Mark my words when I say this. There will be no. I do not plan on taking him down. I do not plan on wrestling him. I plan on going in there. In where y'all think he's just this otherworldly guy because he did kickboxing and I didn't do kickboxing. You know, this is a completely different sport. Kickboxing is kickboxing. MMA is MMA. I've been doing MMA for years. I've been bred in MMA. And whenever I do fight him, standing, I will knock him out.
The core of Jamahal's position was built on the claim that he was raised in MMA, whereas Alex Pereira transitioned into the sport from kickboxing. In Hill's logic, this automatically diminished Pereira's achievements, abilities, and prospects compared to his own. A questionable argument, to say the least, and we fully agree with that sentiment. However, Hill seemed unbothered. He stuck to his narrative right up until the moment the UFC finally matched him against Alex Pereira at the milestone UFC 300.
Make no doubt, I'm here to put him out. He gotta go to sleep. Only one way that this ends. It's okay with him ranking me as 4th. I'm okay with that. You know, whatever his opinions are, whatever. We're gonna get in there and see. We're gonna get in there and see. You already know how I'm coming. You know, just getting acquainted with the visual that I plan on seeing on Saturday night.
I've seen that he's not on my level. I've seen he's not on my level. It's not close, and I can't wait to get in there tomorrow and show that.
Alright, you've earned your title shot. It's time to back up all your trash talk inside the cage, right? But something went wrong, right from the start. In the end, it took Pereira only 3 minutes and 14 seconds to leave Hill in a complete daze. There was no competition in the striking department, none at all, just to be clear. Pereira timed Hill perfectly with a clean shot and swiftly finished the job with a brutal ground and pound. An absolutely flawless victory.
It's done. That's it. It's over. A left hook, an uppercut from Pereira. Knocks Jamahal Hill hard. Follows him down. Knocks him out. Alex Pereira is still the light heavyweight champion of the world.
Initially, if you remember at the beginning of this episode, Hill didn't seem to have much of an issue accepting his defeat, but that didn't last long. Soon after, Jamahal began proclaiming at every opportunity that it wasn't a convincing win. He claimed he was simply caught with a punch, arguing that this didn't qualify as a dominant or impressive performance. Blah blah blah, you get the idea. He took to social media to argue with fans, frequently engaging in heated debates and writing lengthy posts about what, in his view, constitutes a real victory versus what doesn't. Unsurprisingly, he placed his knockout loss to the Brazilian firmly in the second category. No one doubted he would, right? But that was only half the trouble. By late June, the UFC decided to give Hill a chance to redeem himself and get back on the winning track. The opportunity came at UFC 303, where Pereira was set to grant a rematch to the Czech samurai Jiří Procházka. Hill's opponent was initially slated to be Khalil Rountree, however, things didn't go as planned. First, Rountree withdrew from the event due to a positive test for a banned substance. Later, Jamahal himself was removed from the card after being matched against Carlos Ulberg, who sustained an injury and couldn't compete either. Meanwhile, Procházka finally got his rematch with Pereira but suffered another loss, this time by knockout early in the second round. Naturally, this gave Hill the perfect excuse to record yet another solo podcast on his channel where he dissected the difference between how Jiří lost to Alex and how he himself had.
Your last performance, you got dominated. Dominated and knocked out. Completely shut down, completely exposed, right? And then got done bad, bro. You did bad. I got caught. You got dominated. It's a huge difference.
The UFC's most anticipated move was to organize a fight between Hill and Procházka, which they did, scheduling it for the UFC 311 card on January 18. Interestingly, just weeks before fight night, Hill and Pereira crossed paths at the UFC Performance Institute. Hill, in a theatrical display, instigated what could only be described as a mock scuffle. Amusingly, he approached Pereira and his team declaring, "This isn't Twitter, we can settle this for real now." However, when Pereira offered to put on gloves and spar, Hill refused, claiming he wasn't about to do it for free. So, the question arises, why start the commotion in the first place? The answer is simple: to film a viral video, throw some words at Pereira, who only communicates through a translator, stir up some drama, and walk away. That's it, a theatrical performance, plain and simple. This episode quickly faded into memory as fight week for UFC 311 arrived.
Yeah, 100%. I feel a win here, especially a dominant, impressive win here. Next fight is title. Next fight is championship. I don't see why it wouldn't be. You know, Ankalaev fought number 4 or something like that last, and then that just says title. So I'm fighting number 2 in the world. I don't see me going backwards from that.
Here's something worth noting. Jiri Prochazka, when viewed in contrast, handled his losses to Pereira with far more dignity. After his first defeat to the Brazilian, he openly admitted that Pereira was the better man that night. Prochazka took time to recover, got back on the winning track, and earned his shot at a rematch. Okay, he lost again in their second encounter, but once more, Jiri acknowledged the loss with grace, kept his head held high, and moved forward, determined to rebuild himself. In the meantime, Jamahal Hill spent his time doing questionable things, picking fights with Pereira in the gym, arguing with fans online, and moonlighting as a YouTube analyst, dissecting the differences in how they both lost to the same fighter. And what was the ultimate outcome? The Czech Samurai completely outclassed Jamahal Hill, leaving no room for doubt. By the middle of the third round, Prochazka had thoroughly dismantled Hill, giving him no chance to survive. This leaves us with the key question: was Jamahal Hill ever truly an elite fighter? If we take a closer look, outside of his victory over Glover Teixeira in January 2023, Hill hasn't faced or defeated any top-tier opponents. Sure, Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker aren't exactly pushovers, but calling them elite in today's light heavyweight division feels like a stretch, wouldn't you agree? And the fact that Hill isn't part of that elite group has already been proven, first by Pereira and now by Prochazka. So there you have it. We can only wish Jamahal Hill sweet dreams moving forward, and would like to highlight that the Czech Samurai remains a destructive force in the light heavyweight division. To date, his only losses in the UFC have come at the hands of Alex Pereira.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy that I did a good work. What I'm working on, like all the preparation on some. All the time I'm talking about upgrades, about to make a step up, and I felt that like now it's worked. Still a lot of work before me on my way, but I really feel like with this attitude I can go to the top and stay there.
Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our future content. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode. See you next time.